Well, hello everyone. If you've been following me, you know that I do videos, obviously. I've been doing them for well over a decade, and the hardware got to be an issue about time Microsoft declared war on old computers because they want to sell new computers. They work with NVIDIA and they also work with Intel, as I understand, and they want new stuff. So Intel has TPM 2.0 going into main boards or birthing person's board. We can't say motherboard. Somehow that'll upset a certain segment of society out there. Main boards or birthing person's board. We can't say motherboard. Somehow that'll upset a certain segment of society out there. Anyway, the old machine was getting due for replacement. It's 8 years old now, and it works. The software I use, which is, It's CyberLink. Been using that also for well over a decade, and it has some issues. And I was having some major issues with the old hardware for a period of time, struggling through that, and I end up rendering them at lower bit rates because of the time frame it takes to run, and I want to do better quality videos as we've come to expect it over the years. I mean, I started back when we had 4:3 aspect ratio, the old style, before digital TV came out. Got to upgrade every now and then, so I just don't like spending a lot of money on stuff if it's not going to give me my bang for the buck, which has led me into this Windows 10 is being obsolete at end of life because, as you know, Microsoft wasn't selling enough Windows 11. So they have decided they're going to force the end of 10 to get us to 11. And of course, my old main board, my birthing person board, would not support TPM 2.0. And TPM 2.0, if you don't know it, go out and research it, but apparently it just gives Microsoft more control over what software that you can run or can do it in the future. Maybe they're not implementing it yet because they need to get the computers over. So we've got an experiment to do today. I ended up starting on a new machine to do the editing with. It's going to be a beast. I've already got quite a bit tied up into it just because I decided I was going to water block the whole system, do a water system custom loop so that, you know, I could get some good hardware out there in that, and maybe I wouldn't have to do it for another 8 years or so. But I got caught up in waiting for Arrow Lake. It's now out. I need probably another $2,500 to complete the rest of the system when I put kind of top line Arrow Lake and the new fastest memory that it will hold, because memory is a big portion when you're actually chucking these big files in and out. And of course, PCI 5.0, that's sweet, but they're still, since it's the current technology, it's top of the line and they want top of the dollar for it. So I built an interim machine and the old box, and if you followed that, I hate that old box, but it does have a hard drive bay in it, and I use Blu-rays to take my old videos off and store them. They may be like reel-to-reel tapes. Before long you may not be able to have it because nobody puts bays in them anymore. We're going smaller and better. So I built a new machine with a new motherboard as interim while I waited for Arrow Lake, and I put in a dual RTX board here in it, going from the 1050 Ti that I had in the old machine. It worked, but it had a limited number of CUDA cores, I think around 500 or so, like that. So I thought, well, I'd get me a new card and put in there and see what it will do, because it's also PCIe 4 versus 3, and the old board was 3, not 4. So I'd double some speed there and have more CUDA core to do that transcoding. Although I don't really believe that these new boards are particularly good at transcoding, still the idea is more CUDA cores that can do those small calculations when we're layering and putting stuff in video would help. Now, so where are we now? Purpose of the video is I bought this one, which is a 4070 Super, and I had to find, in each case of these, I'm not a hardware expert, so I found the best sellers because I want to water block, obviously, the new card in the new machine upstairs, that custom loop. So we're going to compare today, as best we can, these two cards. Both of them ASUS, you see right there. All right, RTX. We're going to see if it helps out the rendering, because we know going from the 1050 Ti to the 3060 did make a big difference. It really did. Now I want to see, okay, if we have approximately twice as many CUDA cores, can I cut that down again in half? And again, I'm not, well, I overclocked both cards. All three cards were overclocked, but it didn't really make much of a difference. Core clocks are a little faster in the 4070. It's still PCI 4.0, I believe. So let's see what we can see. Let's see what we're basing this on. All right, well, here we are over on the NVIDIA page, and what we're going to look for is, I think it's, we've already pulled up the product, the 4070, and I'm going to pull down here till I see specs, because we want to look at them and see what they have to say about it. It just do fit over here in this corner. So here we are. We want to look at the 4070. I have this key to my 3060, which is the card that's going to live in the computer downstairs. This one with the Z790 board. I don't have a Z890 yet to go up upstairs, but here we have it. This is the board, and as you can see, DLS. We have the Ampere flops, teleflops, T-flops, whatever they are, second generation, third generation. And see, this is the basic, how much memory we have. GDR6, GDR6X in the Super, 4070 Super. And if we look across, we're about 3 times faster with the shader cores, and we're 3 times faster pretty much on the ray tracing, and we are tensor cores. We have plenty more of them, more than the 3 times on with the tensor cores. Now here's the question that I have with myself. Right now, I don't use any AI in my video production. I don't do the AI removal of backgrounds, or replacements of, what do you call that, the landscaping behind it. I don't do any AI. I don't put clown feet. I saw a funny little video, and I thought, now maybe that might be some of the stuff that I would want some AI to do. They had Vice Presidential candidate Kamala Harris walking across the tarmac to the big Air Force plane, and somebody had put Ronald McDonald's feet on her, and she was flopping across, and a lot of those type of effects where heads follow people dancing on, a lot of that stuff is AI now. And currently I don't use any AI, which may use some tensor cores and some shader cores, because they're creating a virtual background and virtual things, virtual world, the same way that a video game creates a virtual world. But now here, all I've been doing for these many years is just doing a video, doing some editing, chopping stuff up and cutting the ums and uhs and that kind of stuff out, the lip smacks and that kind of thing. So I'm not really creating virtual world. The question is, will this, I think this one was what, about 250, and it was a marked step improvement on the machine, going from, again, I say the PCI 3 to PCI 4, and that helped a lot because it's twice as fast. But then when we had this one, the purpose of selecting this is I wanted one that was popular enough to find a water block that would fit. Some of the other ones that you may have, maybe better cards, I don't know, but if I can't get a water block to fit them, that's going to be a downside to it. And I didn't want to get one of the ones with the super coolers on it, the 3-fan coolers, because I'm just going to take that off anyway. So I went as high up as I wanted to go. I think I'm around $700 on this, and it'll take another $135, $150 by the time I pay tax and shipping to get the water block for that super. So here we are. We're going to go see what it does. If I haven't lost all of my video shots where I had done the pre-work before swapping the cards out, we're going to go see what it does to see if it makes a difference. All right, now I brought up a different screen from NVIDIA. Compare GeForce graphics cards. We are in the 3060, which is here, so we'll bring this up and we'll go see if we can find out how many CUDA cores it has. The 3060, it's not a TI and it's not a Super. Let's go down here toward the bottom where we have the 3060 non-TI, which is here. It says it has 3584. Can you see that right there? Right there. I can zoom in a little bit since I know I'm not on the rightmost column. Right there. So we've got in this first card, the one that will remain downstairs, we have 3584. Yes, there they are, right up on the top. NVIDIA CUDA cores. Now we got GeForce 4070 Super 78. So we are looking at going to 7168 CUDA cores versus the 58 or whatever. So it's going to be significantly higher than we had before. The question is, will it make a difference? All right, let's do some maths, as they say, because I looked at this before I ordered a 3070 Super, because I might have gone with a Ti, but it's another $150 or so more. I can't remember. But in the 3060, I have it written down on my little notepad here. 3060 has 3584 tensor CUDA cores. We have 7168 in the 4070S, and that is exactly twice as many CUDA cores. So the question is, those are the cores that do the little math computations. Now, I don't write the software, so I don't know what it uses, what it doesn't use, but the idea is if I had a good step up from the 3.0 to 4.0 in the 1050 Ti to the 3060, of course it's a couple of generations, and it was pretty good, about half as much in the speed. It took about half as much time to do the same video from those two cards. Now what will we get when we do the card that has twice as many CUDA cores, faster clock? It's also 4.0 versus 4.0 on the PCIe. How much improvement will we get with this much more expensive, probably close to, let's give round numbers, of twice as expensive video card using my software? That's the question. So here we go. We're going to look at the same fairly long video that I processed several weeks back. We're going to look at it. It was done at 16 megabits per second bit rate. Hey, appreciate you watching. Do me a favor, if you will, subscribe to the channel, either the YouTube or the Rumble channel, which this appears in. And if you can, check the notification bell or settings to make sure that you get notified when new videos are posted. Appreciate it. We're going to look at it. It was done at 16 megabits per second bit rate and 30 frames per second. Use obviously the same source, the same configuration with all of its edits, and we pulled it in with the card first, the 3060, because that was what was in the machine. We processed it a couple times to make sure things were like heated up or whatever, and we kept the last one, and I think we ran the other one as well with the 4070 Super, and we ran it a couple times just the same way we did the first one, and we just picked one. There's slight variations because I guess of what's running in the background, and they're not exactly the same hits per video like on the 3 tries with the 3060 and the 3 tries with the 4070 Super. So let's look at that screen over on the side. Here we are. This is the video 16 and 30. The date it was. Now we looked at it, available space. Obviously that's not a big deal, but it might have some kind of a factor on it because we are filling up the NVMe. The time it took to do it was 9 minutes and 31 seconds to do that. This is with the 3060 running a video that has no AI in it. And if I come down here in the bottom, let's switch it over to the 4070 Super, and we see it is 941. I guess I got a little left justified a little bit different, but it's 941 with the 4070 Super, and it is 931 with the 3060. So what are my conclusions? Well, in this case, either I've got an ample number of CUDA cores already being used by the 3060. All of the other stuff, the shaders and the tensor cores, the other stuff that goes in there to create the AI and the virtual reality, where we're kind of building these gamer worlds with their instructions, at least this software is not making use of any of those. And the video content that I had in there, much like you see here in this video, doesn't use any background replacements or anything. Well, it's got a green screen behind me, but they're not doing the substitution where we're going around and we're putting a different sunset. Maybe we took a picture in the woods and we want to show it that it's at the beach or whatever. It doesn't do that. So I'm not making use of any of that AI, and without the use of the AI additions in the editor and with the limitations on the software that I do use, it didn't make any difference. Made no difference whatsoever. And which leads me to believe perhaps going from the 3.0, PCIe 3.0 to 4.0 may have been the bigger feature. Again, it's the same thing, the same computer, same background, same day. I just pulled the card out and replaced it. What do you think? And I'm also curious, any of you that use DaVinci, how you like it. I have problems with the Cyber because every version I've ever had has been buggy. In fact, if I do an hour or 2 hours worth of editing on a video, if I go straight into rendering, I think it has like a memory leak or something, because then it doesn't render correctly and it goes to the slow pulsing heartbeat type of situation. And I just have to restart the program and then render separately, render right after a restart of the program, reload of the program. So it's a little glitchy. It's pretty comfortable because I've been using it for so many years, but it's not necessarily the best. So I'm curious to, if some of you who use DaVinci to do your editing, can you tell me what software you use? Because I'm not using Adobe because they're hard to deal with, and I like buying my program and not having that monthly subscription. So I may stick with what I have since I'm learning how to work around it, even though I have a newer version on the machine today. So sorry I couldn't give you a better indication, but the truth is what you find, not what you want it to be. And in this case, this much more expensive, twice as expensive card with twice as much goodies in it, except for memory. They're both 12. They're 12 gigabyte boards, so there's no difference there. It's just in the NVIDIA chip itself. Didn't help at all. So what do you think? Like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff that you always do. And share your information, share what you've observed, and maybe we'll have a system or something we can test things back and forth among us and come to conclusions that are not based upon trying to sell you hardware. How about that? Appreciate you watching. Come see me again. See ya.